We are here. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you like that?
Nice.
Oh yeah, I should linky link in the LFG.
Throw that link in.
So I am definitely gonna have a hard time remembering what all the games are.
Oh
I
my
literally
God,
just
so
started.
many, dude.
There were so many, but I'm not gonna lie, and we could definitely talk about this. Not a lot of them stood out to me.
Okay.
I think I think there was some. I think it's healthy, and maybe we'll get into the full thing. But like, I think it's healthy to have a bunch of like smaller games, which I saw a lot of.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was genuinely concerned that sort of like, not to get too much into the state of politics and stuff like that, but like the amount of free money that's out there because interest rates are so much higher is so much lower. And we've seen a lot of game studios close, but we're still seeing lots of like really small projects still going out there doing creative, cool stuff. Granted, the tool set's easier to work with. And if you're unemployed and a game developer, what else are you going to do? But you know, I was happy to see that we had AAA titles, not a lot actually, but there felt like a lot of AA games this time, which we haven't seen for quite a while, and then a lot of indie. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when they show the Summer Game Fest and it's like Repo, you know, and like just all these bangers next to it, and it's like Repo was the top selling game. It's like, holy shit. That's a small company, you know. Same with the Expedition 33 and everything. So
yeah,
it's like all these small developing companies and everything. They're heavy hitters. It's awesome.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We're not going to do like a list or anything like that. We're just going to talk about the games that we saw that we liked and whatnot, right?
I think we were trying to get 5 or so.
Well, yeah, 5-ish. That's it's a thing. We can overlap though and just kind of riff.
Today, or are we doing that some other time?
Oh, as far as the draft, we'll do that later.
Okay.
We'll make that more official.
We'll tease that this week, and then next week we're gonna try to pick that up. Maybe get some other participants. I don't know.
That could be fun.
Yeah. Get a 5-person league or 8 or whatever.
I do want to be clear. We do have to talk about, because we were talking about like what games might be game of the year. I think there are titles that have already come out that are very likely could be game of the year.
100%.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There are 2 that spring to mind immediately. So
yeah, we're going to be fighting next week.
Oh, 100%.
Trying to get those.
Yeah.
Duck Detective, right?
Yeah, that was it. The what was that? The Mystery of the Salami or something? Or
Mystery of the Salami?
Something like that.
Don't worry about it.
Where did they put it? Okay. Cool. We're gonna get that intro going, and
we're okay. Just want to make sure. So today we're just talking about what we saw, right?
Just trailers.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
What is your like most anticipated thing coming out of the last week? Or even if it wasn't last week, like let's talk about it. Why wasn't it in there? You know?
Oh,
yeah. There you go. So cool. Let's get started. Alrighty. Welcome to Why Is This Game Crazy? And this is the Backlog, where we just added more games to our Steam wish list last week. Then there is Sand in Arrakis. Right?
Oh, it's coming together.
With me today. With me today is a man who treats every Summer Game Fest like it's a personal challenge to make himself bankrupt with pre-orders. Tyken.
Accurate.
That's not me. That's not me at all.
And also with us is Frag, who pretends to be a casual Friday-only repo player, but in reality, he's leading 3 underground repo squads, living a full-time repo double life.
I've been found out. Oh no.
Are you ranked?
As a ranked repo player.
Gone to state, you guys.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
And I'm the guy who tried to unwind with some Mario Kart last night and ended up rage quitting because my 6-year-old got me knocked out with the first sprint of the knockout race.
Oh,
yeah. It was a well-timed banana. I am the Don. And today we are talking about our highlights from the busy week last week, with Switch 2 impressions and our most anticipated games from the last week of directs and showcases.
I have a joke I really got to throw because it's in my head and I cannot get it out, and I have to say it.
Throw that
Well-timed
joke.
banana is how I got my son in the first place.
No.
It popped in there.
Cut to the intro.
Why is this game crazy?
Oh, hey.
Hey. So the banana.
No. Cut to the intro.
It popped in there, and I was like, "Man, what type it is?" That's how I got my kids, and then I couldn't let it.
It had to.
It wouldn't escape.
The banana popped in, or
hiding the salami.
Duck Detective on the case. Awesome. We're gonna start with what we've been doing the last weekend. Let's start with Rag.
What the hell have I been doing the last week? Oh my god. Doing a lot of cleanup, honestly, getting our CNC machine, really trying to figure that thing out, that we recently got, and I'm loving it, but it's just trying to like figure out all the programming and everything else behind it. And just kind of, I hate to be boring, but just trying to get my house a little bit more organized. I haven't been doing a whole lot aside from work and that, and yeah, it's been keeping me busy.
Isn't there like an app that's like World of Chores, where you get like World of Warcraft characters, and every time you do chores, you get XP and can level up powers?
Gamify that.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I have been playing a game. That's right. I've been actually playing Gloomhaven on console.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nice. I just been playing a lot of that. Somehow I saw it on in my library and was like, you know what? I'll play it. Play a couple missions, and then just kept going.
Yeah.
I was trying to do a solo mission for the Spellweaver. She's the little spellcaster that's in there. Failed so many times. And then I finally got her, like, I had to get it. She leveled up so many times just doing the solo mission that now she's like level 9 and everyone else is like level 6. And I'm like, oh god.
All the solo missions in that game are hard too.
They are really
force you to, like, they challenge what that character can do.
Yeah. I already retired 2 characters, and then, but I have like their solo missions still to do, and I'm like, but I can't do them because I don't have them anymore. So I'm like, can this like get off my screen? It's a good game. I enjoy it, especially because I don't have the time to play that kind of a game with a whole group of people. So it's really nice to be able to just sit there and kind of play and get that experience. But man, there are times that game is buggy as hell. Like if I pick what cards I want out of 3 out of the 4 like mercenaries I'm bringing, if I can't select the last card for one of the mercenaries, and then it just like it won't let me select it. So I have to basically close the whole game out, reopen it, and I'm good. I'm like, what? This is such a weird bug. Okay.
Yeah. But Deb, you played the board game of Gloomhaven?
I did. I played also Frosthaven a little bit. I never got fair. Okay. I got further in Frosthaven than Gloomhaven. And I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. It gets that kind of like scratches that D&D itch a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely
without
a
actually
crawler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
and
talk
I like
through those who don't know like what Gloomhaven is?
Yeah. That's a good call. So Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, one of those kind of things. Essentially, you pick a mercenary or a couple of mercenaries, like little heroes, and it's a card-based game. So instead of rolling dice or anything like that, you have a deck of cards that are like pluses and minuses and misses or ×2 kind of a thing. And then you have your actual deck, which is like all what the abilities that you could do. Okay. Each character has different hit points, different amount of cards they have in their deck. So, if you're going through, you have to really be careful about what you're using, because once you use it, it goes to the discard pile. And you can rest to get them back, but you automatically will burn one card when you do that. So you're going to start losing cards relatively quickly. And some cards, you use it once, it's gone forever. So you got to be very careful. And as you progress through the game, you're doing quests and you're having like encounters. When you go to do your quest, you meet somebody on the road, or when you get back to city. And some of them can be really detrimental if you choose the wrong thing. And so, you customize your character as you go by building up your deck and the perks that you want, which allow you to like customize the number deck. So you have like your card, like your abilities, and then your actual, like, instead of a dice, it's a deck of cards. It's those ones.
Yep. Which you can mitigate and change up. And
you can remove some of the penalties or all the penalties eventually, and add new things to it. It's so much fun to play, and you play with miniatures on a little map.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
so
it's a legacy style game too, in the sense that you have characters unlocked, but you have boxes you can't open yet. So beating different missions and chapters before unlocks more content for you to explore. So eventually you'll retire out characters and access new ones. So the game's constantly evolving and changing. And then the actions you do and the missions you take on alter the game state of the board. So what you have access to and what other missions show up is really freeform. It's such a clever.
Doing some missions will make it so you can't do other missions.
Yeah. Wow. So Board Game Geek, which is sort of the big repository for board games, I know a lot about these little things. They rank as, I believe, their number 2 biggest game of all time. Like,
oh wow,
it's that high up on the list. And it was number 1 for a while. It got beat by another game called Brass, but yeah.
Okay.
Gloomhaven's wonderful. And the computer port, it's a little janky. I'm very excited to see what Frosthaven does, but it's a really nice port of the board game.
Yeah.
Nice.
I recommend it. It's fun.
So that's cool. I like that a lot.
That's pretty much what I've been doing, is not a whole lot of not much.
And Repo.
And Repo.
We'll play a little more Repo on Friday.
Oh, by the way, if we play again this Friday, my wife wants to play.
Ooh.
Now we'll see. We got some big titles out.
I know. Yeah. There's so much coming out, and
it's supposed to be a Dune weekend. Yeah.
All right.
So nice.
Very cool. Awesome. Over to you, Tyken.
Yeah, I'm in full swing for graduation season. So I've got a pretty large family. So we've got 2 of our nieces graduating. So for the next 3 weekends, I'm going to be driving up to where my family lives, which is exciting. Thank God I have a Switch 2 to bring with me. Segue. So that's been the majority of it. Got to go out to a barbecue with Atlas, who's been on the podcast for, and had a good time out there as well. Game wise, I started Expedition 33. I totally am on, like you mentioned, Don, that you thought it was like that first hour is one of the most crazy things that ever happened. My jaw, knowing it was going to be crazy, my jaw was on the floor the entire.
And you wanted to do it again.
Oh,
it was so good.
I know nothing about this game. I intentionally been staying away because whenever I do get a chance to play it, which I don't know when that's going to be, I don't want to know anything about it. I heard just nothing but good things.
We cannot talk about the intro until you get into it, because it's a masterpiece intro for sure. The whole game.
I will say, and none of this is spoilers. I'll just say, the facial animations and the acting they did are above almost everybody in the video game industry at this point. Like, they really were able to convey such nuance and complexity in the acting and the animation that they pulled off. Like, it was wizardry. Like, I stood there and I was like, this is art. Like,
that's crazy.
High fluting, like, this is art. It was so well done. So I probably put 3 hours in. I'm not super far yet. So I'm looking forward to a little bit more time to spend there. The other one, and we'll talk about that after this, is I picked up a Switch 2. So we'll talk about first impressions on the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World, but we could do that as our next act. So it's been most of my, and of course Repo, Which I didn't get to kill Frag this time, but I was able to kill Atlas. So.
If that money bag was not in the car, I would have tossed your ass off the edge.
His greed knew bounds, apparently.
No, I just didn't want to hear from everybody else. We didn't even succeed that mission. That's the worst part. You guys broke everything.
Oh, that was a terrible time.
Yeah. Anyway.
How about you, Don? What have you been? You've been working all weekend.
Let's unpack this week and weekend. So yeah, I did work all weekend. Prior to that, the Switch came out. So I worked that day. That was the midnight launch, but on the West Coast, that's a 9 o'clock launch. So I worked that day, and I just want to unpack this whole experience, like the Switch pickup and the pre-order and all this kind of stuff. So got off at 3:30, went to GameStop, and they were basically selling you the console at this point in the afternoon for the 9 o'clock launch. So you were in line. There was a huge line out the door. Like, I already pre-ordered this thing, but you have to stand in line, and then you get through it. So this took about an hour or so on, what was it, Wednesday? Yeah, it took about an hour or so. You get through line. They're like, hey, man, you just pre-ordered the console. Can you pick up a warranty? Like, we know the spiel, right? We want a warranty, extra controller. This is your chance. You can do it, all this stuff. And they try to sell me everything. And it was kind of whatever, pain in the ass. You come back at 9 o'clock, like I paid for it and everything, and I'm good to go. They give you a receipt and a sticker. And this gets into a little bit of the news stuff. We're not really doing news this week. So fun fact, but GameStop, so they would take a sticker, they would put it on your receipt, and then they would take a sticker and put it on your box. Well, some GameStops out there were putting a sticker on your box and then stapling the sticker.
Yep.
It was a fucking sticker. Like, just put it on the box. You know what? Don't even touch my box. Like, just sell it to me at 9 o'clock. Like, it was such a whole rigmarole of like nonsense. Yeah. But anyways,
that stapler went right into screens because that screen is like right at the top of the box.
And
which
so
is also just bad for Nintendo to do that.
I agree with that one.
You could see how like this whole thing played out, like living through this experience. So they take my console, I take my receipt, I go home, I come back in a couple hours. They put my console in the back somewhere with all the other, there's hundreds of them. There's a lot of consoles. Like, I've never seen so many consoles for a launch day. Like this is, it's nuts how many consoles are out there right now. But anyways, they put it in the back room, little number on a little box, next to all the other little boxes with little numbers on them. So what happens when we come at 9? Well, they gave us a pickup group or whatever. And apparently what was happening at 3:30 was you would go through this long line out the store and into the store, and then they had 3 registers, so you'd go to the register, and one register had groups 1 through 15. The next register had groups 16 through 30. The next one had 31 through 45. You see where this is going.
Right.
If you ended up on the 3rd register, you were automatically on group 31. Like, that was the earliest you would make it. So you could be 3rd in line at 3 o'clock or 3:30.
Right.
And you were group 31.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah. And I'm exaggerating these groups, but this is how they did it.
That's a terrible way to do it.
So I get there at 9 and they're working through the groups. I'm group 9 somehow, magic. My buddy who was like 4 or 5 people behind me was group 16. It took me an hour to get from group 1 through 9. So I'm in there for another hour, and it should be like, I have my receipt. There's a number on the box. Just give me the damn box. Like, that's all that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Why do I need to go through your till?
No, because they call groups of like 6 or 7 people again, and they go back through the whole process that we did at 3 o'clock. And they're like, hey man, you want 10 amiibos? You want a controller? You want a warranty? Like, the whole thing happens again. Right. And I'm like, Jesus, I just want the console. And it was such a pain in the ass. I got out of there at 10 though. 10 o'clock on a launch night. I'm good with it. I got to play a little Mario Kart. Nice. So it was kind of a shit show. And for the East Coast that was stapling the stickers on the boxes, I still cannot, like, stickers on boxes. Why would you staple it? Still can't get over that. But more of a shit show for those guys than for me.
Right.
But it was still a shit show, and I'm just like, this, like, if I was at a game store, if I had your job, you know, and I used to, but if I was doing this, I might just sell them at 9 o'clock, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
if
not,
you've already got to go
not
through
this
it
whole
anyway.
thing. Yeah, we got to do this thing. You line up where you line up. And I see they're trying to make it easier, but it's a shit show. Yeah. Anyways, Walmart, they, you know, because I got 2 systems. I had one as a backup just in case this shit show happened or whatever. And it became a thing where I just didn't get one. I don't know what's going on. Target, like, I didn't pre-order from Target, but those guys weren't even pre-order or delivering on day one. Like, they were like, yeah, maybe Saturday or Sunday we'll get to it. Well, Walmart, they promised 10 o'clock in the morning, I think. I got that shit at like 7:45 in the morning with a Coca-Cola and a can of Pringles, like, on the house. I'm like, what? It was the easiest experience. Like, they packed every Switch they had pre-ordered. They packed into somebody's Uber car or something and delivered the shit before 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
It was amazing. Best experience I've ever had pre-ordering anything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not, like, ever going to happen again unless it's like a big console like this. But dude, that's the bar.
It was crazy too. Like, Nintendo, I set up pre-order for Nintendo. Nintendo, like, ghosted me basically. I've had one email from them, like, we're still doing it. So I figure, okay, I'm gonna get up Wednesday morning. I'll go in early to, we have a store called Fred Meyer, a chain around here. So I'll go into Fred Meyer and see if I can get one, you know, like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I had a guy on the inside. He's like, yeah, we got a good shipment. You should probably be here at like 5:30 in the morning. They open at 7. And then I got sick as a dog. Like, I don't know if COVID or whatever I had, but I was just out all Wednesday into Thursday. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to make it. It's fine. I'm talking to Don. I know he's got a second one. Maybe I can finagle my way into there. And my wife, who was going to Fred Meyer just to do grocery shopping at like 10 a.m., I said, hey, why don't you see if they got one? If they do, grab it. She, like, calls me up. She's like, hey, they have one, but I also found one in Oregon. I don't want to pay tax. I'm going to go pick up the one in Oregon. And when she called the gal to just be like, hey, do you have a Switch too? The gal went, yeah. You know, like, what a dumb question. We have 100 of them.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. So my wife got it. Very lovely of her. I was so thrilled that I was able to get a Switch 2. A lot of people online started being like, I see Switch 2s all over the place. Like, Target has a ton and Walmart has a ton and like GameStop even had a ton. And it's like, oh, no one's buying the console. No.
There's so many.
The Switch 2 reported numbers, 3 million consoles were sold on opening weekend. 3 million. To give you a sense of scale, the Steam Deck in its entire lifetime has sold 4 million copies. The Nintendo Switch 2 sold 3 million in a weekend.
Yeah.
So, like, this is a very, very successful launch. And I bet you could still go get Switch 2s in stores
despite
now.
the price, it was very successful.
Oh, yeah. Well, that too. I mean, people can complain and boycott and pretend like no one's going to buy it. The reality is $500 when phones are $1,200. Like, we've talked about this, right? But as far as having a lot of stock, it's the most amazing launch I've seen for decades at this point, right? Don and I were, and Frag, you were adjacent to us working in Game Store. We all remember the Wii coming out. What a shit show that was.
Yeah.
This was like, yeah, we have plenty. And the scalpers who bought a bunch of them are now just sitting on inventory they can't sell because I can just go out and buy it.
Good for them. Yeah.
So yeah, I was with you. Same with your Walmart story. Mine was Fred Meyer. I was like, yep, my wife, who's not a gamer, just walked into a store and bought one. And it was the Mario Kart bundle too. It's not like she had to go for the less popular one. They were all there.
Yeah. So yeah, good times with that. It was just funny to get that basically night and day experience with GameStop Walmart.
Right? Funny, yeah.
The one that's actually the video game store handled it worse.
Yeah, and you don't expect and there's no extra stickers on my Walmart thing. There's not
no one
there wasn't even a receipt. It was just in a bag with Pringles and a Coca-Cola, and they're like, this shit's ready for you, and here you go. And I had a dedicated driver or something. It was crazy, how nice it was.
Walmart used to do with shit shows.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
And then it was good. Other thing about this weekend, I picked up Dune on early access.
Ooh.
It's fun, and what I have to say, this is a mix of a exploration survival game / some light MMO elements to it. Very much on the course of Conan, and those types of games.
Which was the game they made before this, right?
Yeah.
Conan Exiles. Yeah.
This does not feel like playing World of Warcraft, where you're grinding for something, or you just get some money and you're like, I want a mount. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get the steel and the ore and spare parts and go into these caves and get special items and bring them back. And I'm going back and forth, getting my ass eaten by a worm, and then finally getting back and building a motorcycle and, battling dehydration the whole time.
It's just my midlife crisis. But
it's intense. And when you finally build something, you build this motorcycle or whatever, there's a real word for it. But you build this thing and you feel like you actually accomplished something. It's nice. And it's there's so many games out there where maybe what you do doesn't really add up to what they're giving you, or it doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. This just felt man, I built that and I'm going to take care of this thing. And 10 minutes later, I drove it into a sandworm, but
those things are massive, by the way.
Do you have to recreate it again, or?
Oh yeah. You got to find parts again. Yeah.
It sucks.
So it's savage. The way it works in this game is if you're in the world and say a savage raider or something kills you, then you will drop your loot and stuff and you can go back and find it. If the sandworm eats you, you cannot get your stuff. It's gone. Wow. Yeah. It's destroyed. The sandworm ate it and it's gone. So it's very savage. I have not played a lot of games where I feel so fearful about what's going on. I'm very, very careful. I picked the Bene Gesserit that they scream and pull people towards them, and you have that weird voice magic thing. But they also have a sprint where they can sprint across the sand. So very cool for a survival element. But it's still high risk. There's a lot of rock to rock distance where you risk getting eaten, basically.
Yeah, I've seen Tremors. I know how it goes.
It's basically that. Yeah.
It's Tremors on crack, though. Those things are legitimately terrifying.
I've seen some videos. They're crazy big and fast from what I've seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they give you plenty of warning to know you're gonna die.
Yes. Yeah. And you feel it, and there's stuff going on in the game. There's big airships that are flying around that are crashing down. The worm will just pop out and rage for a minute, and there's just all these random ambient sound things happening where you're I don't know what's going on out there, but I don't want to find out. And it's crazy. Great times. So that game comes out tomorrow for the non-early access, the standard edition. So
that's when I'm playing it. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, no problem there. So
you said this is made by the same people that made Conan, right?
Yep. Conan Exiles. Yeah.
Okay, so from what you're experiencing playing the game, do you feel like it may have some of the same issues that Conan has, where you have a million workbenches, for example? Or do you think that they've kind of narrowed the scope on that? I know it's still early access.
No, and I would say that I don't think they launched in early access. I think the game is pretty much where they want it to be at launch.
Okay.
But yeah,
early access.
Yeah, but there is I have the early release.
Oh, it's got you get to play it early. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, collector's edition.
Yeah.
But so I think there are a lot of workbenches, but it's something that you see in similar games.
Okay.
Like Soul Mask or whatever.
I just remember in Conan, like I enjoyed the game. I played a little bit of it, not as much as I wanted, but I played a little bit. But it was always like there's like a workbench for every little thing that you've got to do. And it became really like your house is nothing but benches.
Yeah.
And you still need more room for them. And that was always a problem.
Yeah. The nice thing with this is, and I know Conan, you could work together and everything.
Sure.
This seems to be very guild and party friendly. So you can have a guild and work together and kind of share the building.
I think they used MMO to really try and highlight the fact, and they said this in an interview too, that like they were highlighting MMO because there's a lot of player interaction that goes on naturally. You're going to be sharing a server with other players and it won't be PvP focused. Like you'll just be able to run into each other or like see their base off in the distance, that kind of thing. But it's not MMO in the sense of being a traditional MMORPG, to your point, right? You're not grinding, you're not loot dropping. You're running stuff to get supplies to build out your base like a traditional survival game. But they do have this sort of big element where the game will kind of draw you together. So like the end game has it's not the base. Base is the starting area, right? There's an end game area where it is PvP, but there are like these zones you get to try and harvest spice. So the game has this cool mechanic to let you go in and out of multiplayer. Like seamlessly without even realizing that's what's happening. So I think very Destiny style for those who played that game. Like you're going to be running around, you'll see another group. Maybe you'll join up and do a cool mission. Maybe you'll ignore them, go on your way. So that's the MMO aspect of it. So I'm excited. I can't wait to play it. This is going to be our next like Tuesday game night game. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think let's give it a couple weeks and maybe like circle back and do a Dune review. But yeah, lots of fun for the little I've had in it. And that's all I got. Yeah. That was my big time this week and weekend. So
I'm very curious to see how that game goes. I'm not entirely positive I'm going to pick it up, but if it's as close to like Conan as that was, again, I enjoyed it. I want to play more. I'm probably going to pick it up and play on Tuesdays. Wednesdays?
Yeah,
Tuesday.
Yeah. Super familiar, like with the way Conan handled and everything. It's very similar.
I loved Conan. I thought it was one of my favorite survival crafters because it felt like rewarding exploration, which some survival crafters, because they're just so procedurally generated, it's just you're running around and you found the biome that you needed the item, but didn't feel special. Conan did a great job of feeling special.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Dune can capture that same momentum.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Awesome. So I do want to talk really quick. Initial impressions. I know, Frag, you love it, but we're going to talk some Mario Kart and some Switch 2 initial impressions.
Oh, boy. Okay, cool.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about? Which one do you want to talk about first? Because I have very differing opinions on both.
Are you asking me?
No, of course. Yeah. What's your favorite part about the game you didn't buy?
No. It's more a matter of whether you want me to pick like where the conversation goes. You want me to say, hey, do you want to talk about the console? Okay. All right. I'll be here for I'm still going to have an opinion.
Let's start on console. And, I just want to say, like, I talked about it last week. The controller support has never happened like this from console to console. Maybe like GameCube going to Nintendo does it, right? Like Nintendo does this. GameCube to Wii, you were able to bring the GameCube controllers. Wii to Wii U, you can bring those controllers. And now we're seeing it again. Like we didn't see it between Wii U and Switch, but who cares? Like get rid of the Wii U. Switch to Switch 2 though, like we could bring those controllers and it felt really nice. I can play a 4-person Mario Kart after spending $550 after tax or whatever for this system in a game, and not go out and pay another $200 for controllers. So it felt really good to have that. That was my highlight of this whole experience.
Yeah, the backwards compatibility on the Switch too is really refreshing, and we are seeing developers do this. You see this with PlayStation and PlayStation Now. Like, you can go back and play the old PS2 games. A lot of times games move forward. Xbox has been doing this. Nintendo has also been doing this. In fact, when I loaded up my Switch 2, the very first thing that happened is I transferred my stuff over from Switch 1 and just started downloading games, right? Like almost every I have a pretty extensive Switch library. I make bad choices. I found very few games that did not just natively transfer over to the Switch 2. And one of the cool things that I really, really liked, and I said this a couple of weeks ago when we talked about the Switch, is the Switch 1 was going to leave my hand. The Switch 2 was going to go in, right? I'm still playing Smash Brothers. I'm still playing Mario Maker. I'm still playing, like, a lot of the games that were my staples at Switch 1 are my staples now in Switch 2. That can remove some of the excitement of a new console, which, give me a second, I'll get back to that. But the other cool thing is that every one of my Switch games runs better. Every one of them. And it's in little ways, it's in big ways. Smash Brothers, for example, didn't have a update like the Breath of the Wild did, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Party. Just natively, it loads significantly faster. The loading of the beginning of Smash Brothers, the Switch 1, was a 45-second to a minute long. It's about 10 to 15 seconds at this point. Like, it is immediately loading up. Another weird thing, if you're not super into Smash Bros., you probably don't notice, but if you try and look at colors and palettes of characters lower on the roster, they take a while to load up. The game prioritizes loading the first group, then the levels, and then the remaining. No lag time at all. I can see every character. It's small, but it's just these little tiny improvements. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which I ran like ass, like to the point I put those games on the Switch, are finally at full 40 to 60 frames per second. This game dipped into the single digit frames per second on the Switch 1. It was genuinely terrible. And like, they had these really shitty draw distance for Pokemon. So in that game, you could run around and Pokemon would spawn around you. And that was a cool mechanic. So you'd be able to, like, oh, there's a shiny, or I'm hunting for a Psyduck, right?
Sure.
Because of the Switch limitations, there would be like 4 to 6 Pokemon that could spawn, period. And you had to walk out of the range to get the next route. Now it feels like this big world of Pokemon just naturally occurring and interacting with each other. Like, it's all these small improvements that make every single game I played feel better on the Switch 2. Now, the flip side, it felt very not as exciting. The only new Switch 2 game I got is Mario Kart World. And like, I looked at, like, I could download Cyberpunk, I could download No Man's Sky, I could play Survival Kids. Like, there was nothing else that screamed next generation to me. And even Mario Kart World, which is great, and we'll talk about in a second, was not such a dynamic leap. Like, I loaded up Mario Kart 8 on there again, and it looks fantastic. It plays fantastic. I was like, Mario Kart World, yes, it looks better, but it doesn't look dramatically better. So it's such a weird feeling. It feels like I've upgraded my video card on my PC more than it feels like a console launch.
Okay. It's kind of the impression I'm getting, because it, like, I mean, of course it runs better. It's a whole new system. It should run those better. But yeah, it doesn't sound like it's a brand new much of anything. It just sounds like an upgrade. What were you going to say there, Don? What's that?
Did you play any besides Mario Kart World, Don?
No. So okay. I would agree. It doesn't feel entirely like a launch with the small title, additions we're getting here. I'll say the store was feeling a lot better, and then
so much snappier. Good God.
Their stores runs like ass.
Yeah. So it felt so much better to be in, like, before I would have to look on my computer for anything, and I'd be like, okay, here's the deals. Cool. Go back here, hit the search. I'm not going to look at everything. Here, like, I want to browse the store. It feels good. But it doesn't feel good with the lack of titles there are right now.
for Switch 2 specifically.
Yeah, Switch 2 specifically.
But the fact that, you know, this was my whole thought. Like the whole time I was playing, I was like, would I recommend the Switch 2 to someone that's not like a Nintendo fanboy like I am? I think the ultimate answer is no, not now.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it's not a great system. Like the Switch has been my favorite system. This is a better Switch. Like
100%.
It runs faster. It looks pretty. That bigger screen really matters. I know a lot of people were mad about the LCD not being OLED right now. I think that LCD screen looks damn gorgeous. Yeah, the blacks aren't as dark as the OLED, but all of the colors pop. Like everything looks so good.
When I put that side by side, because I didn't get the OLED, and it was like from the original Switch to the Switch 2. Oh my God, you could fit the original Switch with the Joy-Cons inside of the screen for the Switch 2. Like it's so much bigger. And yeah, that was just impressive. I don't really play it out of dock, but that's cool. So
yeah.
Well, I guess, I was going to say, is that to its detriment how big it is? But I guess you're right. Like, I was just thinking, as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, when was the last time I played my Switch out of the dock? It's almost never. But it's really big. Is it still what you consider like a travel accessible?
It's pushing the limits for sure. I think it has more in common with the Steam Deck than it does the Switch one. I think that's a very comparable apples to apples. And
sure.
It's got a little bit bigger screen than the Steam Deck. Obviously, it doesn't have the same compatibility the Steam Deck does. Steam just has a bigger library general. But, you know, the Switch one was a noticeable step down from the Steam Deck. Now, if you're looking at which one to get, my question for you is, are you a console or PC gamer? Like, if you've got an already established Steam library, go get the Steam Deck. If you're someone who's played the Switch or likes PlayStation, go get a Switch 2. I think it's a very comparable experience between the two. I'm just an idiot and have both. The one thing I will say, very noticeable, and it's expected, anyone who acts shocked should be smacked, but the battery life significantly worse than the Switch.
Oh,
like
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I could play Super Mario World for about 3 hours, and then the battery's dead. Whereas, like, I could play Mario Kart 8 on the OLED Switch for about 8. Like, it's a very, very noticeable difference. But the trade-off is a brighter, better color screen, and just frankly, a better system running faster. So it's like, yeah, it sucks that it's not going to sit through an 8-hour flight without charging, but it's really goddamn gorgeous. It's 1080p on the regular mode, 4K in the dock. Like, come on.
Yeah. How does it compare to the Steam Deck battery? What are you getting with the Steam Deck?
About the same. About the same. For a game at the quality that Mario World is, 2 to 3 hours. Now,
like if we did Cyberpunk, it'd be pretty close.
Yeah. Cyberpunk would be like an hour and a half. like it's very demanding. Granted, I did not buy the $60 Steampunk edition for Switch 2 that runs about 40 frames per second when I'm sitting on a 4090 at home. Like, I love that it exists. This is how I felt about Skyrim. I love that it exists on a handheld. That's amazing. And if you have no other way to play it, get GeForce Now. But if that's not an option, you can buy the Steam Deck 2 version.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Switch 2 will be my favorite console, probably of all time. I really, really love the Switch. I really think it's a fantastic console. This is a better version of that. It's bigger. It feels better in the hands. Don, talk about the magnet snaps.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah. I had my reservations when I saw it the first time, and it works so good, and it's so satisfying.
Oh, they're magnets. They're
nice. Magnets, and you have buttons that like take the magnets out or whatever.
Sure.
And it just when it clicks, they should call it the click or something. Like it's I don't know what you're switching anymore. You're just clicking it, and it's so satisfying.
Yeah, those who didn't have the regular Switch, you had to like press a button on the back and like pull it up. It came in a slide thing. And one of the things that really sucked is I would dock it, and then I would need those. So it'd be in dock. I'm like holding the dock down. I'm pressing the button. I'm get on here, and I'm sliding it up on each one of them. Now I go to the very. See if I can do this. I go to the very edge of them, pressing a button and just pulling them directly off. They just come straight off the sides. And then putting them back on, just click. Perfect.
Nice bassy click.
Yes.
Yeah.
Magnets, how do they work?
Oh, yeah. You press a button.
Magic. Awesome.
So overall, very, very happy with the Switch 2. I don't think it wows me to the point I would tell everyone go out and buy one today. But if you do buy one, I think you're buying a good quality console.
Yeah. I know this thing is going to be like in a year and a half. It's going to be amazing. Hopefully 6 months from now, we have a little bit more inventory on what's out there and catalog and everything. But yeah, we'll see. I'm excited about it. The one game we can talk about is Mario Kart.
Yeah. I'd love to get your first impressions. Like, how has Mario Kart been?
Oh, I probably played every mode. And what I want to say, this game has something for every mood you're in. One of my favorite things is just cruising around, open world. Like, the music is so delightful. It's just playing different things, riffing on some of the past music from old Mario games, all the way up to course selected music. And it's just kind of this, like, it's a whole vibe. You're just relaxing, driving around, unlocking some costumes, trying to do some tricks. And it's finding the little nabbit guys running around, and it's a cool vibe. It's very relaxing. I love that. I wish there was a little more. I wish it was a little more like Forza Horizon, because that is an open world game, racing game to model your game.
We're talking about Mario Kart, right?
But we're talking about Mario Kart.
Full open world, baby.
Full open world. And you're just by yourself. There's little challenges to do and little P blocks to hit
everywhere.
and do.
I do not understand the concept of this with the Mario world. I don't. If for some reason my brain is having a hard time competing, like, what's the world? Just a bunch of pipes and greenery that smiles back at you or tries to shoot you.
You got like Princess's Castle. You've got a snow place. You got Donkey Kong World. You got Bowser's Castle up in the north.
It's like Simpsons Hit and Run, but Mario Kart.
It's so what they did is that all the tracks exist in one shared island
world.
Okay.
Oh, that's where the world comes from. In one shared, and every track that you go on, the only way the race happens is they sort of cut off other parts of the world for you to have a much more controlled race. What's incredible about Mario World, is that they built those, and then they said, what if you could go off-road? And they built these challenges and other paths and other areas to explore. Like, it's going to be, they could totally just do what like Midnight Club and Forza did, where they're like, let the players make point A and point B and make the track. They could totally do that, because the world is so dense with things and challenges that are just organic in the sense of the world. Like, it's very, very clever how they've done this.
That's really interesting. I like, as soon as you said open world, my brain shut down. Like, we're talking about Mario Kart, right? Like, what?
There's really so much, like, jumping from 8 to this game. There's so much going on that's a reimagining of what Mario Kart is.
Yes.
It's a step in the right direction. And it's like, when you played 1 through 8 and you're like, where can they go next? This is it. And the open world feels great. I'm even going to say, like, the circuit races, a lot of the circuit races are all, they pull into the world. So it's like, you're going to do a circuit on the right side of the west side of the world. And you're going to start here and you're going to get all the way up to here. And you might start with the circuit race, but then you're going to have a point to point race to the next race. And then another point to point race. And it's just very cool the way they, I don't know, use the world for the races, which, I mean, any other open world game, that's what they do. But it's nice to see it in Mario Kart and actually be like, oh yeah, this is where this exists in this world. It kind of adds another layer of world building, I guess, to throw that in there. Yeah, it just makes it more purposeful. I enjoyed it. I don't know. I'm going to leave you some stuff to talk about. There's other things I'm excited about, but man, such an exciting version.
Yeah, I do want to piggyback on that, because one of the things I noticed when I was first going through the tracks was they've sort of brought back shortcuts in a way we haven't seen in a while in the Mario Kart series. Like, if you recall, like 64 and Diddy Kong did this a ton, you would have these like off path areas that you, if you were clever enough to see what was happening, you could go off to. And then like you're racing and your friend has found that side path, and suddenly you're going from first to third because two people jump off the shortcut.
Oh, right.
That's back in the game. And it's so organic and complex. Like you could see where to go, but if you don't have the skill to get there, you're not going to be able to utilize. Like they brought skill back into the game, I think is the big key here. It's not just how quick can you drift around the corner. It's can you charge up a jump, grind on a rail, run on a wall, do 2 flips onto a cloud, and then get up to a top area that didn't exist. Like that is so amazing to get back into Mario Kart.
So I have a question. So how is the online play? Is there
online?
Because
yes,
traditionally,
I've heard it's really good.
Okay, because traditionally Nintendo doesn't have a greatest track record when it comes to online play.
Play the intro. I've heard nothing but positive remarks about the online play. I didn't personally experience it. Don, did you get an opportunity?
No, I think we need to over the next week or so.
We talked about it, and then we just
probably this weekend.
Because like I said, I'm very curious about that. Because again, online and Nintendo, like they don't go well together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I will say I could tell this game has legs. One of the big things is watching
sort of wheels.
I'm gonna stab you. I know what you do. Is watching the TikTok trends of videos and people showing off these insane like double backflip parries into grind rails, and like it looks like Tony Hawk when you're playing at full speed. Like it looks really incredible.
There's a video that I saw today of somebody like almost 80%ing a lap without touching the actual course. Like they're grinding, you're grinding, you're wall jumping. It's back and forth, and there's so much you can do on this game. I believe the creators and developers, they were like, we know that this game is going to branch out, but we don't know what the players are going to do. Like once the players enter this game, they're going to approach this differently and randomly. And we could have predicted how they're going to approach this game. So very cool.
It feels like a platformer. Like it's Mario Kart, the platformer, which is wild to play. Like, and it works so damn well. I also agree with Don. The free roam is a delight. Like it's the cozy game I wanted. You know, like there are challenges. I take them on when I want to. I just drive around the world, unlock key costumes, or exploring the map, and everything just feels so nice. Like it doesn't feel stressful.
How big is the world? Because you keep saying like explore the map. Like I can't imagine it.
I would say San Andreas might be the right size.
That's still pretty goddamn big.
Yeah,
right?
it's really good.
It's pretty big. Yeah.
It's not like it's not miles and miles of nothing. Like it again, everything is so densely packed. There are challenges everywhere you look. There's unlocks, princess coins, and all sorts of other cool things. It also has that great sense that GTA does of, oh, hey, that plane flies by here. I bet I could land on it. Like, you know, that's sort of like shenanigans that you could try and get up to. This game really feels like it has a lot of that.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and some of the previous Mario Kart, some of my favorite levels were ones where you would see other vehicles on the road, and this has that. Like every road that you're driving between the courses, there's other cars on the road. There's random pedestrians on the road. Like I was taking pictures with Toads and Yoshis, and like that's the other thing about like the open world. Like I'm just driving around, I'm like, that would make a really cool screenshot, and I don't know, I'm just having a good time with it.
How customizable is your vehicle, your carts?
It's not. It's
Okay.
actually way less than Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, you get like, I don't know, hundreds of stickers or something that you can put on one of the carts.
But it's not like MK8 where it was like you could get wheels and you set up like the
sure
craft that floating on. It's very much just the vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's disappointing. That's like a lost opportunity.
That's really the other side. So sort of the negative to this, right? It's really hard going from MK8 to this. Like Mario Kart 8 was out on 2 consoles, had a revival with season. Like there are 96 tracks in Mortal Kombat, Mario Kart 8.
Okay.
When it comes to this game, it's 32 tracks, I believe, which is still a good chunk. It's not bad, but it definitely it took me a little bit. I was like, oh, this is it. This is the game. Like, I was so spoiled from Mario Kart 8 to come to this and just be like, oh yeah. I mean, these tracks are great. Every one of them's a banger, but it's a lot less content. There's less characters overall. There's less vehicles. There's less customization. There's less tracks. That's just a reality of the game. But it's also, this game came out. Mario Kart 8 has been out for like almost a decade. So
did they add content to Mario Kart 8 over time? Okay.
Yeah.
They had 2 DLC packs, and then like 3 years ago, they released 2 more seasons of DLC packs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's a lot to Mario Kart 8, which granted you could still play on the Switch too, and it runs great.
For someone who doesn't pay too much attention to Mario or Nintendo products for the most part, aside from like Zelda, what does Nintendo, for lack of a better word, are they gouging on the DLC costs? Are they like reasonable? Like, so what you can expect in the future when they do potentially release a DLC for Mario Kart? Was it 9, right?
Yeah, this is
so
Mario Kart
when they release a DLC for this, now mind you, everything on the Switch 2 is far more expensive, from the games themselves to the console itself. Like, do you think it's going to be a lot more expensive for a DLC on Nintendo?
What do you think, Don?
So I think it's probably going to be in like the $20 range, for a handful of races, but they're really trying to push this. Like, so Nintendo has their online membership where it's like $3 or $5 a month or whatever it is. Then they have another upgraded version where it's like $35 a year. And then you get free expansion packs for games, including the upgrades for the new Zelda, or for Zelda, the Switch 2 remaster or upgrades, I'm going to call it. But also the GameCube, Nintendo Online stuff, where you can play old Nintendo GameCube games that they're putting onto the Switch 2. So this like expansion pack plus, that's usually where they release all the DLC. Okay. So if you buy that, you unlock all the DLC. Like if I'm subscribed to that, I can go play Mario Kart 8 and play all the DLC without buying it. So I hope that's something they carry forward into the future with these.
I would expect them to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, they were $15, I believe, originally for the first 2, and then 20, maybe 30. It's been a hot minute for this season.
20 or 30. Yeah.
For the other ones. But yeah, to Don's point, they usually were bundling it in as sort of the offer for the expansion pack of their online service. I think they're not great at DLC. I don't think they gouge. I think they're pretty in line with the industry as far as that goes.
Okay.
It's a good question though. Yep. Yeah. So there certainly will be DLC. I think there certainly will be more tracks. I mean, Mario Kart was the best-selling Switch game, and it was the best-selling Wii U game. So, like, you're gonna have this.
Is that right? Really?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah,
I do not pay attention to Nintendo like everyone else.
I again go to my previous comment with the Switch 1, which is I don't think Mario Kart World's at the level that you need to immediately go buy a Switch 2. If you buy one, it's great. I think it's a wonderful purchase. It's a great evolution of the franchise. I'm excited to see where they go. MK8 just frankly has more for you to do at this stage today. And I don't think if you're on the fence, you're like, I have a Switch 1 and I like what I have now. I would say hold off a little bit on the Switch 2. If you're like, I'm excited for a Switch 2, go buy a Switch 2.
Okay.
That's where we're at today. I'm not going to convince someone that doesn't want to buy it to go buy a Switch 2. But eventually I will, because it's a good console.
The other thing I want to say about this too, on this point, before I get back into Mario Kart, is if you think you're moving on, I think Switch ones are still a good idea to have around. Like that's something, like if I'm having a quick trip somewhere, or I'm on a train ride to, like, we can take the train from here to Seattle, I might bring the Switch one. And I think, with the DS gone and everything, I think the Switch one is going to be at a price point, in a year or so, where it's like, this is the perfect handheld to use. There's a lot of great software on it. So I would continue to say those things are worth having around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until you have a Switch 2, and then you're never going to play your Switch 1 again.
I'll still keep it. And my kids get to play that,
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I gave it to my 5-year-old and I said, this is yours now.
You're brave.
We'll put it up on the fridge until you've earned time.
Cool.
Or dad wants to play his Switch too.
There you go. Last thing that I want to talk about with Mario Kart is they added knockout races, which is a huge, like, it's such a different style race. Basically, you're going point to point across the map. There's like 4 different stops. And at each stop, they get rid of the bottom of the pack, basically. So you start with 24 racers, you get to the first check mark, and the first 20 will move on to the next checkpoint.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's like the Amazing Race or whatever. Like, you're just dropping people off as you get to these checkpoints. Yeah.
It feels like a battle royale. I don't know if that makes sense, but
I mean,
like in
it
my
does.
head,
I mean,
does.
You're racing towards a goal versus try to. Yeah.
It's so fun. The races are a little longer than, a normal Mario Kart race, but it's so fun. I played with my 6 and my 12-year-old. They smoked me today. Like, I wasn't even trying. Like, I don't know what happened, but they got first and second and I got third. But yeah, I would have been sad if I got knocked out and had to watch them, but yeah, that's the crazy thing. If you get knocked out at one of those points, like, you're just put the controller down and let the other people finish the race. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Competitive.
So there's 24 on a track, I believe now, which is a huge jump from 8 or 12.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
It's a lot. One thing I was very concerned about with 24 was, not to brag, I'm usually in the lead or near it. How many times am I going to get blue shelled? I don't feel like I'm getting more blue shelled than traditional.
Pretty normal.
I'm getting 2 to 3 a match. Granted, some of them have come at the worst fucking times, but that's Mario Kart, right? You just accept that's the chaos of it. But one thing they made is, like, being in lead, I would get more than just coins and the random banana. Like, I would get mushrooms. I would get bombs. Like, it gave me a little bit more to do in the lead or near the lead than traditional, which was really nice. The knockout race, the thing I loved because of that larger size, is the beginning matches are so chaotic. And by the time you're near the end of that race, it's like the top players and everybody's rocking full 20 coins, a couple of bananas. No one's blue shelling. No one's showing up with a bullet bill at the last second.
Pure skill at the end.
Yeah. It feels like I've weeded out the riffraff. Now we're here to play Mario Kart.
Interesting.
So it's been great. The other thing I'll say is, having a 5-year-old, I think they leaned even further into the audio assist stuff. So, like, my son can't even really drive off the edge, which is great because he's not great at staying in the middle of the road. Like, they give him a lot more hand holding, which makes it a lot more fun for him. And they have auto item use now. So it will find the opportune times to use items for him. So for a little guy, it's really, really handy for him to learn the game, even more so than Mario Kart 8 was. But you should immediately turn that shit off if you know how to play the game, because it is on by default on the auto steering. I was real mad. Yeah. I was like, what the?
That's funny. Okay.
But overall, great game. I mean, we knew it would be, but I'm happy to see it. I'm excited to see where they take this.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. We're gonna move on past the Mario Kart and Switch thing.
We take a break.
Yeah. We got time for a break.
Yeah.
I know we're boring Frag, so yeah.
It's all good, man.
Okay, go ahead, Tyken. Throw your screen off. I'll throw on the 5-minute video here. How about that?
5 minute. All right.
You guys soon.
All right, sounds good.
Dude.
What's up? What's up? There he is.
Hey, that was like perfect timing.
I know.
Wait, where's Frag?
He's coming back. Here we go.
All right.
I want to see him putting on his pants. What?
Oh, what?
What?
I've got nothing for it. Yeah.
Play the intro.
Play the intro. Cool.
All that beautiful bean footage.
So yeah, we're moving on from the Switch from the first half of the show there. Second half, we are talking about the game showcases, Summer Game Fest, Xbox Showcase, PlayStation, whatever happened last week. And we're just going to talk about, we're going to go through maybe round robin this and pick a few of our favorite things and most anticipated games that are coming out from those shows.
Just spoiler, I watched as all the videos I could today. Unfortunately, I've been so slammed and all that stuff. So if there's a PlayStation one and Xbox One, I don't know all the difference. I just saw stuff. But I definitely have a list of games that I thought were really interesting. So
yeah, I will say overall, I was really expecting to be like kind of underwhelmed. We hadn't heard a lot of games coming out this fall because everyone's so afraid of GTA, rightfully so. That was like, is this Game Fest going to be like meh? It absolutely was not. Good God, the amount of surprises I had through this entire week was incredible.
Yeah.
Game industry still kicking, it turns out.
It's still kicking. 2025 and 26 look to be alive and well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's so much coming out.
So, Frag, since you watched it today, what was your highlight?
The
just
one
one
that
now.
We'll start with one.
Yeah, because I've got a big list of stuff that I thought were interesting and some that made me just laugh. Fractured Blooms looks really interesting. Did you see that one?
I don't remember that one. What was it about?
Fractured Blooms is I think it's first person, and you tend to a garden, you do your laundry. Oh, by the way, there's a heavy Doki Doki Literature Club feels going on here.
Wait. You said cozy, everything's happy.
Yeah.
Doki Doki.
And then,
Club?
dude, it is like there's a part in there where like a timer is ticking down and it says, do your laundry, don't look behind you.
Whoa.
Ooh, okay.
There's a lot of little like, and it was subtle and some not so subtle, like cinematography going on. Like you're slicing a tomato and it looks normal later in the first, and then as you keep doing it, it almost looks like blood splatters.
Oh,
as you're slicing it, and it looks like a mind fuck. I'm so interested. I don't know if I could play it, but I would.
We could do it on stream.
Someone,
maybe.
You heard it here. Frag's going to stream this game.
I will not be alone.
I love the inversion.
By himself.
I love the inversion of the cozy game, right? Like there's so many have come out of farm sim, cozy happy with this art style. Yeah, you watch that trailer. I have it on the side channel here or side screen. And it does that, where it's like they're cutting the tomatoes. You're like, that looks a little bloody. And then you see in the background of the mirror, like the door close. You're like, what the hell was that?
What
was that?
Yeah.
And then the trailer just goes south from there. I'm with you, man. That looks sick.
Yeah. Yeah. I was very into that. Like, I want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I'm just assuming I'm next. Sorry, Don.
Go for it. I know what you're gonna say.
You got main character energy here, Josh. I need you to drop it down to like at least a side character, like, you know.
I like to think of myself as an anti-hero.
Sure.
I will say it was my biggest surprise out of any that I saw where I was immediately like, I'm getting this game. And that was Clockwork Revolution.
Yes.
This looks like this is. I think, Don, you and I had the exact same. The first time you're watching it, you're like, is this BioShock Infinite? Like this kind of looks like.
Oh wait, no, I did see that one. Yep,
You watch it a little bit longer, and you're like, okay, this is Dishonored 3. Like it has that sort of like RPG actiony stealth going on in it, but it looks so good, and the humor seems really on point. There's a point where one of this like obviously evil Baron got the big mustache. He comes in and he's complaining that someone attacked him, and the inspector robot goes like, "Did anyone want to? Do you think of anyone that wanted to kill you?" And they stare at each other, and then they both just start laughing. And he's like, "Well, it might be easier if we don't arrest everybody in the city." Like it has that like kind of self-defeating humor, but the mechanic seems to be that your character has some ability to control time, and the bad guys do too. And they show like the world being shaped from like a desolate to like Greek to Roman to futuristic. Like there are going to be ways that you're going to be able to interact with the world and make decisions and alter time in the big picture. But even within the gameplay moments, they show like respawning works that way, where you don't die, you kind of reset your time. Or you're firing your gun, you need more ammo, you're going to rewind the bullets back into your gun after you killed somebody. Or they destroy a wall you need to hide behind, you rewind time and get behind the wall.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
I am so on board. That was immediate. I saw it.
Game. This looks really interesting.
I saw it and I was like, "Yep, I'm playing this game day one, 100%." Plus, it's going to be out on Game Pass, so it's
Game Pass. Yeah.
But regardless, day one, I'm playing that game.
Clockwork Revolution looks really.
It looks so good.
We
need more of these games.
That was definitely on my list. I love the art style. I love the weirdness about it. The humor.
Steampunk, sci-fi.
Steampunk, yeah. Robots. Yeah, it's cool. Looks way so cool. On my list, the first thing I saw was Marvel Token. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah?
That was the one we both were like, it's both on our list.
Yeah, so if you took Clockwork, I had to take Marvel, and if you took Marvel, I would have taken Clockwork.
Frag, if you haven't seen this,
not that one. I got a different Marvel game on my list, but
100% up your
alley. Oh yeah. So this is called Marvel Token, TOKON Fighting Souls, and the way they did this, it was like they started with this like comic art. Anime kind of magna, whatever the Japanese art style, and you're like, what is this? Like, it didn't look at Marvel. It didn't look like Marvel right when they were like putting the words out, and then all of a sudden you see Captain America's shield, and you're like, what the hell is this? And it's this, and then it goes into the art, and it's like, you see something that's kind of like Iron Man-esque, and it's like, wow, is that Iron Man? And then all of a sudden you see the fighters pop up, and yeah, it's Captain America fighting Iron Man, and it looks like something Marvel vs. Capcom, something in that vein. And as the trailer goes on, you're like, okay, this is a 4-player tag fighting game, 4v4, kind of like the Dragon Ball Z games, right?
Did you find it, Frag? Are you watching this trailer?
I'm watching a trailer. Oh okay. This looks so good.
Yeah. So I watch these PlayStation Directs every year to, hopefully get Wolverine, and they don't deliver, but man, this looks so good, and it's Marvel, and I was so excited about it.
That looks like a great fighting game.
So this is the team that did Dragon Ball Z Fighters. So
I can see that. I can totally see that.
Yeah, you get that beautiful art style that looks, no one's doing it as well as they do. The other cool thing, and we need a little more time to verify this, but it sounded like it's not 4 different fighters. I think you could swap between your team. So if you were like, I love this one character, I'm gonna get really good at him, the other 3 are gonna be assists, you can play that way. You're not required that all 4 of yours are the ones that you want to get super good at.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
A lot more flexibility in your gameplay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I am 100% on board with this. This looks so good.
Day one, you, me, baby.
It'll be a day one purchase for sure. Yeah. So excited about it. Like as you're watching that, you're like, man, is this a new Capcom game? And then it's like it gets into it and it's like, nope, these guys are developing it. And the interviews with them after they do the trailer was like, it was just very cool, the process. They went to Marvel with, what their ideas were for characters and character building. And Marvel's like, no, you guys need to make the characters that you want to make. And so it becomes this like anime flair to it that's, you got Iron Man that looks like Gundam or
totally
something.
Does.
And yeah, it's super rad. I think this is going to inspire, at PAX, all the cosplay and everything for Marvel. And my God, it looks so cool. I can't wait for this to happen.
I'm so pumped. This looks like what I've been wanting since like MVC2.
Yeah.
Like this looks so good.
We've had just a big empty spot since Dragon Ball Fighters and MVC Infinite, which didn't hold up to the hype, but like there's a big versus fighter gap that just has not been filled by a fighter. And I will also say, like, it made Miss Marvel look fucking dope.
She looks really good.
She's always been a little goofy to me, and like I don't mind her being in the movies and whatnot. But seeing her, I was like, am I gonna be a main? Is she my main?
Yeah.
I was hoping they would at least put Wolverine in this game or something. I'm like, give me Wolverine. Where is he? But they didn't show him. I think Sony has a thing. They're like, never talk about Wolverine again during a state of play. So I figure out
it's Fox that used to own the rights, right, to Wolverine.
Well, yeah, but PlayStation has this exclusive Wolverine coming out. The guys who made Spider-Man. So they can't talk about it. You can't talk about Wolverine until that game comes out. But yeah, with this game, they were talking about more characters to be announced, more things to be announced. The way like the level design and everything on this game looks, you're like throwing people through debris and stuff. It looks amazing. Very, very convincing fighter. I love it.
I'm looking forward to that. That looks great.
All
Sweet.
right.
So I mean, I'll stay on the Marvel train.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you guys see Marvel Cosmic Invasion?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like a really good old school beat 'em up, and the art style looks great. There's one thing I noticed though, and I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's kind of against it.
You're already backtracking.
No. Here's where because I only noticed it at the last second. I'm still excited about it because it's a beat 'em up game that we haven't had a whole lot of great ones, but like Shredder's Revenge was really good.
Yep.
And
so these guys do that too. I believe this is the same. Yeah, same.
I don't know if it's the same one because I know the same people are making Scott Pilgrim, which is a whole other conversation.
EX, also coming out. Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, it's a great looking beat 'em up game. I love the art style, the sprites. I'm wondering if the Captain America, for example, looks exactly like he does in MVC2, and also his combo animation. It's the exact same combo I've seen 1,000 times. I was like, I know those moves in that order. Did they just take the same sprite? Because also like Storm does the same thing. She'll come around there and she'll spin around in a circle, put her arms across her, stuff like that, right before she does her super, which is a big giant electrical attack. I'm like,
did
they just take the same?
No, I'm looking at these animations. Like, I see what you're saying. I think there's enough variety. Like, there's definitely more frames than MVC2 had.
But that's not what I mean. Yes,
no, I know what you're saying, but like they definitely have like some different moves, but inspired by for sure.
Sure. Okay. All right. I saw that. I was like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying like, interesting. But yeah, it looks like something really good. I could definitely see myself playing that with the kids. Like Spider-Man looks great. It's my son's favorite spin specifically, but which is Miles Morales. He loves Miles Morales Spider-Man. But yeah, it looks great. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I love this Renaissance back. That was a genre that was dead for quite a while, and like Scott Pilgrim showed up for like a hot minute as like an Xbox arcade exclusive.
Yeah.
But we had that. We had Double Dragon Neon. We had Splinter or Turtles, Splinter's Revenge. Like, it's really great to see the beat 'em up genre get new life.
Splinter's Revenge?
Is that what it was called?
Shredder. Splinter is the rat.
Okay. Yeah, I thought. Why is it Shredder's Revenge?
Like,
I
wait
beat
a
his
second.
ass. I'm very confused.
They're both rats.
I was
You
worried for a half
dirty rat.
second I named like the wrong character out of Turtles. I
Yeah.
was like, did I get a non-turtle?
Yes, he was a rat.
Sub-Zero's Revenge.
Sub-Zero.
Scorpion's Revenge. All right, yeah.
Yeah. So
All right.
on that too, just they did announce that Scott Pilgrim. So
Yeah.
I'd say that whole thing they're going with. Really
There was
excited
multiple
about
beat 'em
that.
ups that I thought was really interesting. That again, like you brought up, like you said, John, like it's this whole genre coming back with a vengeance, and I'm for it because I used to love those from like Maximum Carnage back on the Sega and Super Nintendo. You know, all those kind of games. Streets of Rage.
Yep.
Like I grew up with those kind of games, and so to see them come back, oh, I'm so excited. Especially being able to play with my kids. I'm so excited for this.
Nice.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah.
All right, my next pick, I'm going with Outer Worlds 2.
Okay.
I loved Outer Worlds. I loved Avowed. I liked Avowed. I loved Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds 2 looks fantastic. And
I watched the wrong one. I didn't see that one either. I need to go back to watch that.
We knew Outer Worlds was coming out. They've kind of been teasing it for a while. We've
Sure.
been getting some more into it. And it looks like the sort of fun wackiness that New Vegas and Fallout 3 brought to the table. And I just want to see more of the Outer Worlds sort of expand. I want it to be a little bigger. I thought the first game was just a little too short, a little too tight. I want them to flesh out, and a sequel is a really great way for them to do it. They're doing all sorts of really interesting stuff. So one of the things they've been touting is they have a brand new perk system that based on the things you do, you might get a cool perk. Here's a good example they showed off recently. I could get Kleptomaniac, which means that any items I steal, I could sell at a higher value when I sell them.
Ooh.
However, there's a chance that any item I look at that is stealable, meaning someone's property, I may automatically take if I look at it. So they show off you looking at a gun in a shop, immediately pulling in your inventory, turns around, and there's the guard running at you.
Oh no!
Yes. So they have
That's
this
gonna
like
make it
cool
fun.
push and pull mechanic there, and everything you do is based, or all these perks are available based on your actions. So there's another one where if you stare off into the sun for a certain amount of time, you can get sun blindness as a perk, which like gives you some perk when you're out fighting in the sun, but will make a permanent blurriness in the middle of your screen. Like it's just nonsense shit like that.
So funny.
It gives you that Borderlands 2, like corporate overlords humor. Like the enemies are like talking about how they're all corporate overlords and they don't really care about anything. They're just here to make money. So kill as many people as you can. Like just stuff like that. It's that tongue-in-cheek sort of humor that, again, it feels like Fallout at its goofiest, and I'm here for it. So I'm excited for Outer Worlds 2.
Nice.
Oh man.
Also on Game Pass. I'm not sponsored by Microsoft, but if they want to, got my number.
There you go.
Phil.
Yeah, so along those lines, there's kind of a theme with all these games coming out, but Atomic Heart 2 looked really good. Like that trailer looked really good. There's a lot of robots. It's super weird. It's like Ex Machina type thing going on there, and man, yeah, it looks cool. The Cube followed that up, so I think Mundfish from the first Atomic Heart, they made a ton of money on that game. And now they're coming out with a second one, and they're coming out with an MMO. Wow. And that's really, they're really in a good place. Both those projects look very exciting. I didn't play the first Atomic Heart. I'm like, did I sleep on this?
I wanted to, but I never got to. I never had a chance.
Look, the Atomic Heart had a very good premise. It plays a lot like the Deus Ex style, like having that story interaction within combat. I think it wore thin quickly. So I'm very excited for Atomic Hearts 2 because the promise of what Atomic Hearts 1 was. I don't think it lived up to it late. Like you get to a point, the game feels very samey. Yeah. So I think this is a great opportunity. It felt like they had to rush a great idea, and I hope this gave them more time to flesh that out.
Yeah, it sounds
world's
like
incredible.
Yeah, and like I said, I think they're in a better place than they were for the first one. So, maybe more money, more artists, more vision and tools to get to the right place with this. So I'm really looking forward to this game, and I know nothing about it. It just looked amazing. So very excited to see it. Yeah, awesome. Frag?
I don't know anything about the game, but I was already hooked. The Chronicles Medieval. Did you guys see that one?
No.
Chronicles.
Oh.
Which, by the way, I meant to say this earlier, but I don't know if you guys have noticed. There was a theme of games consistent through a lot of games this fest. Time travel or time manipulation was like, there were so many games that was doing some sort of theme about that. I don't know anything about the game. It didn't have any gameplay trail footage to it. So, it's something I'm definitely going to keep my eye on, but you play as essentially it's all medieval, and you look like you're the leader of an army, and you are rallying your troops, and I believe, based on what the trailer is insinuating, that at least in gameplay wise, you're going to be on foot or in horseback while also having to lead your army and direct things while you're going through. I don't know anything else about it aside from Tom Hardy apparently was the narrator of the trailer.
Yeah,
which whatever, I don't care one way or another about. I don't need an actor, to be honest with you, like trying to tell me about a game. That's not going to sell it for me. But
unless it's Paul Rudd.
Well, that's beside the point. I mean, that's not an actor, that's a legend.
Looking at the way they're talking about this game, it seems like they're calling it a medieval sandbox.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys play Kenshi, I believe is the game?
No, I know what you're talking about, but I never played it.
I would love, if that is what this is, and from what I can read about it, if you just let me exist in a world and get to sort of, maybe I can rally the troops or like storm, London or like wherever the fictional setting. I think that has a lot of merit. Like, let me just exist in the world and let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about Kenshi a ton, right? Like, you could just be a farmer in that game, and that's the entire game. And if that gives me that level of freedom, I could be a king or a farmer, right? Like, that's incredible. I would love to see that. And it does look real good.
I do remember
it got my attention.
Yeah, I remember the trailer, and it kind of ends like with this like Game of Thrones thing where it's like you got your army on the hill, Braveheart or whatever, and the other army is on the lower side of it, and what's going to happen.
I think the game's going to be as historically accurate as Braveheart, probably too.
Yeah, there you go.
So spot on, mate.
Spot on,
yeah.
mate.
Right, in Australian. Also looks very pretty.
It does. It looks very pretty. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, like, I'm a big fan of historical arms and armor. It was one of the things I wanted to go to school for, did for a little while before I was like, I don't want to teach or be a curator at a museum. But the armors look legit, and that always makes me excited to see historically accurate looking equipment. And I'm sure I could rip it apart if I actually looked at it long enough, but from the quick gander I had on it, I love what I was seeing, man. I love what I was seeing.
Nice.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed a lot was there were very visually striking games in Game Fest. Like, there were ones that you saw a trailer on and you immediately got the craziness they were going for. I think there were 3 that stood out, and I want to talk about the third one, but I just want to briefly mention that Mouse PI for Hire looks like the old Steampunk Willie style graphics.
That creeped me out.
Cool. It's Troy Baker, who's wonderful. I love watching him and stuff, playing the detective in that combat. Looks really fun. I'm excited about that one. Out of Words looks like a stop motion sort of puppety style in the vein of oh, nope, I forgot the platformer I was going to compare it to. But it looks like a narrative-driven platformer, and that art style is very cool. No one else is doing it. But the one that blew me away with a crazy art style was Felt That Boxing.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Yes.
Yeah. The Muppet style looks so
the Muppet
real.
Punch Out.
Yeah, it's Muppet Punch Out. That's 100% what it is.
So vulgar too.
It looks so crazy how good it looks. Like Unreal 5 is such a goddamn game changer. And like watching developers finally
really
getting
is.
their hands around it, like that game looks like it's impossible. I thought it was a joke through the entire thing. I was like, at the end, they're going to reveal the real game and it's going to be like pixelate or like trying. No, this is what the game looks like. It looks like Muppets.
It looks amazing.
Doing Punch Out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care at that point if the gameplay is meh. It looks so crazy. I still am going to try it.
Yeah, I like a good comedy, so I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely lean in.
It was incredibly realistic. I could not believe what I was seeing.
Yeah. And that's hard to do for gamers. We've been watching graphical leaps for a long time. This game was like, is this real life? Granted, it's Muppets, but like, are these real Muppets?
I remember when GoldenEye came out, I was having conversations with my family, just like how amazing the graphics were and everything. Yep. And
I said I couldn't imagine graphics getting any better than GoldenEye 007.
I know.
And now I'm saying it about Muppets Punch Out. So yeah. Felt that at the very least, watch the trailer if you have. That game is nuts.
Hilarious. So yeah, speaking of 007, I'm gonna say First Light.
Yes.
Looks pretty cool. So it looks like a origin story for 007. They're kind of picking him up at the school and everything and academy and pulling him into the 007 program, and he's learning the ropes, and it's kind of how that works. So it's not the composed James Bond that you're gonna see, in GoldenEye or whatever, but looks cool. It reminds me of some of the other 007 games that have came out, but looking forward to it.
I was thinking Everything or Nothing. Like, I don't know if you guys played the James Bond Everything or Nothing game.
What system was that on?
PS2 and GameCube.
Yeah, so I think that's title. What I'm thinking.
Yeah, it was after Agent Under Fire and after, of course, GoldenEye, the big one. It's very mission-based, very story-based. So, like, gameplay to gameplay, like, you're in a car doing missions.
You had a car, yeah.
Next time you're in it, like, sneaking into a party. This gave me that vibe the entire time I was watching the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, this is a much more narrative focus. This is much more of diving into who Bond is and the different ways he can interact. So that made me very excited. Frankly, it's also the Hitman team who have been knocking it out of the park with Hitman recently. So I love to see what they could do with the getting. I love the
direction they're taking Hitman. I think that's a much better approach, and I'm absolutely, those Hitman games were fantastic.
But getting that flexibility in the gameplay, like I'm hoping that's what they bring to it. Like, you have a mission to assassinate that guy, but I want the Hitman options to
do it how you want. Yeah. So that's exactly what I was going to say. I hope that we have that flexibility to approach a mission how we want to, and that Hitman stink kind of rubs off on 007, and God, I hope so. That would be such a fun game. But the car driving on that definitely reminded me of the PS2 game, I think. And I'm like, I hope it's good.
I hope it's better than Everything or Nothing. That wasn't that great.
Yeah. I hope it's that didn't really like. That's not even in the top 5 007 games, but excited. It looks good.
Nice.
Ready for that story. Cool. So now, anything else we can kind of quick speed run through and honorable mentions?
Man, I've got a bunch still on my list. So I have
honorable mention. Let's give a quick one.
Did you guys see the Bureau of Fantastical and Arcane Affairs?
No, but now I'm going to look it up. Oh my God.
Yeah. The Bureau of Fantastical and Arcane Affairs. It's a cute little fantasy games where you're an auditor and you have to go to all these evil lairs to make sure like the narrative makes sense based on like what's going on. And they're like, apparently you have to like negotiate things between the Bureau and like the evil like bosses and things like that. It's fun,
adorable.
It looks so cute. I'm like, I am on board for this. It looks so just different and cute. It gave me very Stanley Parable kind of feels.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah.
Lego Voyagers also looked really good.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
it did.
That was really cute.
100%.
Infinitesimal also looked interesting, like sci-fi grounded. And this is my own personal favorite, like choice: Warhammer Dawn of War Definitive Edition.
There you go.
Like I still have a lot more on my list, but I can definitely I can leave them off if we really needed to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice.
I have at least a big one I'll get to at the end, so let's not.
Okay.
We'll all talk about, but I will say a couple of small hitters that I really did enjoy. Super Meat Boy 3D. I'm a big fan of the original Super Meat Boy. I was worried about 3D removing some of the speed, but they do this pretty interesting isometric view on it. I'm all in. I love these sort of hard platformers. So that looked really good to me. Blood of Dawnwalker. The Blood of the Dawnwalker. It is a game in which you're basically playing the Wesley Snipes Blade. He is a guy that sort of half turned. Now he hunts vampires.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
Totally
did see
in
that.
there.
Yeah.
That looks really fun. It's
Looks
sort
good.
of my like sneaker pick that could be terrible, but it
Yeah.
could be cool. And I'm kind of ready for another Blood Rain to exist.
Yeah.
So I thought that looked really cool. Random comment: Beast of Reincarnation. Did you guys watch this on the Xbox showcase? Because it was this monster, and then it said Game Freak. The guys who make Pokemon, they make other games on Xbox. Like, I don't think it looks super great, but I will just say it was wild to see that. Bloodstain's getting a new one. Bloodstain's a fantastic Castlevania.
It kicked my ass.
Yeah. I thought it looked like shit, and then I played it, and I was like, this might be one of my favorite Castlevania games I've ever played. It's amazing. It's made by the same guy who made Symphony of Night. So that's really good. Final Fantasy Tactics is coming back with a remake. Whoo, buddy. That is the best Final Fantasy game as far as that genre goes. So that's really good. The other one I want to say is Silk Song. It's a meme at this point, but they still showed it off. We got a end of this year release date. So hell yeah. So, and then the final one on my list. No, I have two. Ghost of Yotai. I'm excited about that one. The sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. I'm excited to see where they go. I think Ghost of Tsushima started to get samey, so I hope they fix that. But Yotai looks amazing. The Expanse, Osiris Reborn. That was the other one on my list. I love the Expanse universe. I'm a big fan of sci-fi. I think that's one of the most grounded sci-fi. I don't know what this game is, similar to like the medieval game we saw earlier. They didn't show a ton of gameplay, but I would love to play a game in that universe. So I'm super on board for that. So what
Fantastic.
do you got, Don? What else is?
Yeah, there was a Deadpool thing.
VR.
The
VR.
VR. Yeah.
That was the Silk Song joke, though, right? They're like, yeah, don't waste time on another Silk Song trailer. I'm like, oh, it's terrible. I'm probably not going to play that. But Gears of War looked amazing.
Yeah, remake of 1, baby.
So I'm very excited to do that again
with crossplay. Thank God.
With crossplay, sounds amazing. Pragmata's back. I guess like it just kind of got lost for a couple years, and they're like, oh yeah, we were going to launch this a couple years ago, and now we're launching it next year. So that looks cool. Resident Evil Requiem looked cool.
That was the other big one. I feel like
we can move that to the end.
We've got to talk about
We've got to talk about it. Call of Duty. This is Black Ops 7. So this is the first time in the history of Call of Duty where they've done a back-to-back Black Ops. So that's exciting. Also, I didn't know it was Call of Duty when I first started watching the trailer. I was like, what is this game? What is this butterfly about? And then it's like, oh, this is Call of Duty. Cool.
I will tell you, while I was watching that trailer, at the end of it, I was like, what even is Call of Duty anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like that was just so off the rails, like psycho nonsense babble. Like it's so far from the realistic realistic in quotes world shooter. I'm not saying I'm against it. They need to evolve in some way, but that series is nuts.
Yeah. I'm excited to play it. It'll be on Game Pass, so there you go. Game of Thrones War for Westeros. That looked pretty cool. Real-time strategy, right?
Which is another dead genre, honestly.
That was on my list of things that I thought was interesting as well. Like, I could give a fuck about Game Throws at this point. Like, I think the last season to me just killed almost any interest I have in that. But a real-time strategy game would be, I think, one of the best ways to have that game.
Yeah. Mortal Shell 2 looked cool.
Yes, agreed.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 looks awesome. When they hit the music, like, it's cool. I love Tony Hawk. But when they hit the CKY song, if you know everything, and then Bam pops out, and it's like, oh my god, they put Bam in the game because there was some controversy there. It kind of gave me some goosebumps. I'm like, this is fun.
Mortal Shell, the art on Mortal Shell looks so good.
It's again another game I didn't play the first one of, but I'm excited to see the second one. And then I do want to mention a couple indies that I saw on Day of the Devs. So Big Walk by House, which we talked about them last week. They do the Untitled Goose Game. They did Thankful You're Here or whatever. And Big Walk looks like this group game where you're all in a game and it's proximity chat and you're just walking around the forest and everything. And it's just the shenanigans you get in with your friends. So kind of like Repo, but at the same time, this is a more chill, cozy style walking around and hiking game. Looks like a ton of fun, and the graphics look great. Sword of the Sea by Giant Squid. They did Abzu, The Pathless Journey, all that kind of stuff. Looks like just a really chill game to get into. And then Neverway by Cold Blood. That's a new studio. This game looks like a dark Stardew Valley, and I'm really excited about it. It looks like a little more chill. It looks like it's more in the Stardew Valley game genre than I would want to get into, but at the same time, there's some dark stuff in there that.
What was the name of that one?
It's called Neverway.
It looks like if Stardew and Axiom Verge had a child.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw a trailer for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Looks pretty cool. So that was my speed run. Lots of stuff.
When you said earlier like a BioShock feel, I actually, when you were talking about Clockwork, I want to say Clockwork Revolution. I know that's not what it is.
Clockwork Revolution.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Crystal or whatever, how you were saying it. Did you see that one? It's a very creepy looking game. Probably. It looks Crisol. It's not for me. It's too creepy. I'll be honest. I couldn't play it, but watching a trailer, I was like, there are so many BioShock feels I got from that. So that's what I thought you were talking about first. Okay. And then,
I think that one looks like first BioShock, whereas like,
oh yeah, that's what I mean.
Clockwork Revolution is like BioShock
Infinite.
Yep. So wonderful. Yeah, I do want to close it out by talking about Resident Evil 9 Requiem.
Yes.
I mean, that we didn't get a gameplay trailer, right? We got a cinematic trailer, but Capcom has been just on fire with all of their releases. They found a formula that really works. The Village was amazing. 7 was amazing. The remakes of 2 and 3 and 4. So like even there's a lot of times I'll just see a cinematic trailer and I'll get kind of worried, but Capcom has my trust at this point. So I'm super hyped and excited to see what Requiem ends up being. And I think it'll be incredible. I do want to say, I think that gal has the worst boss that's ever existed in the world. He's like, hey, that place that you got tied up and tortured and your mom got killed, we're going to send you back there. Yeah, just check it out for us.
Yeah,
just
grow up. What the hell was that? Yeah. And she's having a panic attack in front of us. Like, you'll be fine.
He's like, yeah, no, it's good for you, though. Like, you're the worst boss. What are you doing, man? But yeah, I mean, Resident Evil that's sort of their thing, having terrible bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah, no wrong there.
So excited. I will say just overall, this Game Fest exceeded my expectations. There was a lot I just was not prepared for. There was a ton of everything from indie games up to AAA to sort of the AA genre I mentioned that hadn't seen a lot of love recently. I would say we're seeing a lot of influence from like Elden Ring in a lot. We saw a ton of like sort of monster beat 'em up from software Dark Souls style games that continues to dominate the industry. I'll take it over the first person shooters we had for a while. We saw a good, healthy amount of remakes and collections coming out. So game industry is doing really well. And there was a ton of hype games I'm very excited for.
Nice.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I do kind of want to tease what we're doing in the future. This is something that we're developing this week. We want to kind of do some picks in a fun way for the video game awards. So we're looking at a fantasy football style draft of video game awards. So we're going to build a roster of the core best RPG, best action game, best family game, best sport game. We're gonna pick those core categories, set one game of each for any of the releases that happen between the beginning of the year and the end of the year that are going to qualify for these game awards. And we're going to see who gets the most nominations and the most wins. So we'll do that next week. We'll talk a little more about the rules next week. And yeah.
And it's going to be for all game, not just like what's been announced, but like the whole year, like what's even come out, right? 2025. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, all of 2025. And it just gives us a good like midway point to kind of see what we're thinking for this year. But yeah, also like if a game slips or whatever, if you had like if we did this earlier and you had Grand Theft Auto on your list for whatever reason, you could drop it and add a new game or whatever before nominations happen. So we'll have rules for that and penalties and all sorts of things. Yeah, a little point system. If you're watching this or you're listening to this, feel free to play along.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool. And maybe leave a comment or something like that and say what are you looking for? Forward to.
What are you looking for? Why are you here?
What are you looking for?
What are you doing?
What do you want us to talk about?
Where is she?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I do want to thank our fans and everybody that's listening out there. Thank you all for being there and supporting us. And yeah, with that, thanks a lot to the fellow hosts here. And y'all have a great night.
Likewise, Don.
Take care.
Yeah, y'all.
All right. See ya. Have a good night.
Bye.
Laters.
Why is this game crazy?